Growing up, I always loved to read novels. Some of my favorite childhood memories are going to the library to get my own library card and then checking out new books to take home and read. My favorite thing to do normally when we take our yearly summer beach trip is to take a book on the beach and read the whole novel while I'm sitting on the sand. Unfortunately, college has taken the joy of reading away from me, as each semester teachers force books upon books on us and require reading 100 pages or so in between class meetings. By the time the semester is over and you have read 4 or 5 novels for 4 separate English classes over the span of the semester, the last thing I want to do is read a book on summer or winter break. Hopefully, as time passes, I'll be able to pick back up on my love of reading novels because it is truly something that I enjoy doing. Reading novels allow me to relax and unwind while I step into another character's footsteps for a while. When I received the email this summer suggesting we go ahead and get George Martin's novel to get a head start on reading it, I quickly felt a weight placed on my shoulders. That weight got even heavier upon receiving the book in the mail and seeing how lengthy it is. I took it on summer vacation with me thinking it would be something that I could read while sitting on the beach, but the book never came out of my bag. It was like the elephant in the room, knowing that it was something that I had to do, but yet I couldn't get myself to start it. Once I was able to talk myself into starting Martin's novel, I quickly accumulated a pros and cons list. I was only able to create 2 positives, which are about novels in general rather than specifically about Martin's novel. The first positive is that novels allow the readers to go at his or her own pace, rather than like a TV show or movie in which the viewers are given a certain amount of information and then have to wait a week or even a year for another episode or sequel to be released. Novels also allow the readers to create his or her own visuals from the book, whether that be visuals of the characters, the settings, or even items described in the novel. The reader is able to create a storybook of their own illustrations made by themselves. I found myself doing this and picturing the characters' houses to be houses of people I know or have a particular way I think the characters look, and then I'm disappointed when I see a movie that has been made based off of the novel and the characters have been made out to be something totally different than what I made them out to be in my mind. Novels allow the readers to have the say-so over what they want the illustrations to look like rather than having images and opinions forced upon them. The cons have to do with Martin's novel in particular. The first con is that Martin includes a lot of details in his novel that the readers have to sort through. It seems like unnecessary fluff, as the readers would probably be better off having some room for imagination rather than having an extreme amount of details included. Secondly, Martin organizes his chapters from different characters' viewpoints. This is super frustrating to the reader because each chapter is jumping around and it is hard to keep track as to who is talking about what and what happened in his or her last chapter. I found myself having to go back and look for the character's previous chapter that I was reading to see what the last thing we left off with in order to keep up with his or her storyline. Thirdly, the novel is a very long novel, which can be very overwhelming to some readers just by looking at it. This played a big part for me. Seeing how long the novel was made me not want to start reading it even more. Finally, the print in the novel is very small, which personally gave me a headache after reading it for a while. I do not think the novel format of Game of Thrones is the best way to be introduced to the series. The novel requires serious interest in the series to have a stamina to want to read the whole thing despite the weak points mentioned previously. This novel is definitely not the definition of a light read, and one would have to be a serious fan to decide to read this on their own. If a friend were to ask, I would not recommend this novel unless he or she is interested in the fantasy type series and has a lot of time to dedicate to make their way through this strangely organized novel.